Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let down our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. Nelson Mandela did that in his speech. Give a big round of applause, please. How many of you like to have a lot more meaning and fulfillment in your life? And how many of you could stand a lot more money in your life too? And how you wouldn't mind both, yes? You've come to the what? Right place. For those of you who don't know me, my name is T.Harv Eker, and welcome. First thing I want to do is acknowledge you for being here. There's a saying we have that what? 80% of success is just? Now, I want to remind you of the 2 rules. How many rules? 2. We have in all of our seminars. The first rule is this: don't believe a word I say. Now, why would I suggest that? That's right. Whose experience can I come from? Just my experience. It doesn't make it right, it doesn't make it wrong, it doesn't make it true, and it doesn't make it false. Just makes it my experience. All I can let you know, however, is that the material in this program completely changed my life, have now transformed the lives of thousands of people. And if you learn it, and more importantly, you take it and use it, I believe it can transform your life too. So all I can ask of you is, would you be willing to be open? What's the word? Open. Whatever works for you, keep on what? Doing. And whatever doesn't, you're welcome to what? How many are willing to be open? Excellent. Anybody not? We'll see. As for rule number 2, research shows that we learn fastest by what? Participation. Yes. How many like to learn faster? How many like to remember more what you learn? Excellent. There's a saying that says, what I hear, I tend to forget. What I see, I tend to remember. But what I do, I understand. Does that make sense? Give somebody a high five and say, I understand, yeah. So how many are willing to participate 100%? Good. Anybody not? We'll see. Over 12 years, I actually had 17 different jobs and over a dozen different businesses. And I was constantly searching for the right work or career. Anybody know what I'm talking about here? And it was actually, I don't know about for you, but for me, it was truly an obsession. It was one of those things that was almost like a dark spot in my life where it had me. Does anybody know what I'm talking about with those things, right? And it was so nagging to me that, I mean, I don't like to use this example, but it's the truth, so I have to tell you. When I would go to the bathroom, right, it would be a time when you're away from like the humdrum and you're going to the bathroom and it's quiet. And generally, you know, it's in the quiet moments that those quote-unquote obsessive things come flooding in. Does anybody recognize what I'm talking about here? And so I'd be standing there, and boom, this thought process would come in. What should I do with my life? Where am I going? What's the right vehicle for me? You know, it's going to make me rich and happy. And, you know, what is it? What is it? What is it? Yes? And I'd be standing there like that, and I noticed, you know, that was what. The first time it wasn't anything, but the second time I noticed I had similar thoughts about 4 hours ago, and then the third time was similar thoughts about 4 hours, and literally was every single time in the quiet moments, wherever that was, the very specific thought process of what should I do, what's my right vehicle, would come flooding into my mind. Does anybody relate to what I'm talking about here? And that's what it was like for me. And it was not a fun way to live. And you know, in the early days, I was constantly looking for high-paying jobs. High-paying what? With lots of growth potential. Anybody relate to that one? And then after that, I started looking for hot new businesses ready to explode and make millions. Anybody looking for that one, right? And even though I was sure this was the route to happiness and success, I ended up with very little money, very little meaning, and very little fulfillment at the time. And then I began studying a little process called Zen. Anybody relate to that? And one of the favorite sayings that I had was something that totally made sense to me, and it said this. It says, if what you were looking for was where you've been looking, chances are you'd have already found it by now. Well, I've been looking pretty heavily every 4 hours, right? And I had been looking, actually, for great opportunities in the outside world. But it wasn't until I stopped looking in the outside opportunities and started really getting inside, going inside, that I started to get clear. And what I found out was that what I was searching for wasn't outside of me at all. It was actually where? It was actually inside. And when it came to finding my ultimate career vehicle, I had always felt like I was in the forest searching for the right tree, searching for my tree. You know what I'm saying? My tree in the forest. And what I discovered is that there is no right tree out there. That the right tree is in here. And that you don't find a tree, you actually have to grow your own tree from within. That you don't have to figure it out, you have to let it out of your heart and your spirit. And so in doing this program, there are a lot of exercises and processes. Because our job here is not to give you answers. Our job is to give you questions. What's the word? So you can get in touch with the answers that are already inside you, because that's where the truth of why you're here and what you want to be doing with your life lays. Does that make any sense? Yes? How many are ready to find it or confirm it? Excellent. Good job. All right. Our intention is very simple: to help you discover why you're on this earth and what you want to do with your life. And to help you discover what the Buddha called this, what's it called, please? Your right livelihood. Now, make no mistake about it. Every one of us has a reason for being. Every one of us. Notice that everything on this earth has a purpose for being there. Yes or yes? Here's a good example. This is a what? It's a banana. What is the purpose of this banana? I can't hear you. What is it? To eat, for food, yes? All right. To make more bananas? Well, we know where you're coming from. Either that or you're really horny. Okay, here we go. So we're just gonna leave this here for right now, okay? And we'll get back to it a little bit later. All right. As I said, you inherently already know your direction. And the object of this course is simply to make what's unconscious conscious. What's unconscious? To make the invisible visible. Thank you. Now, some of you might discover an entirely new direction here this weekend. And some of you might validate that you're already in the right place, but you'll have a new perspective for what you're already doing now. Does that make sense? And some of you may not find the perfect it this weekend or feel an absolute 1,000% sense of clarity yet. But you need to rest assured that your seed has been awakened and that you are growing roots as we speak inside of you. And it might take 3 days or 3 weeks or even 3 months, but you will naturally begin to move into your right direction. Do you understand that? It'll be a natural process. You won't necessarily get the light bulb going, oh, that's it. It'll just be more like the decisions that you're making and the choices that are in front of you. You'll make those decisions based and coming from a little bit of a different place, and it'll just be what seems to be a very obvious decision, whereas in the past, it was an excruciating decision. Does that make any sense to you? That's more of how that can work. It doesn't have to be the light bulb or the burning bush thing coming out. It can just be, well, here's an opportunity. No, that's not right for me. And here's an opportunity that feels really good. That's something I really want. You know what I'm saying? Because the seeds have been ignited and your roots are growing, and it's more of a natural process for you. Does that make sense? And you'll see that's what we hear from many hundreds of students, that one group of students gets it in here, a confirmation or a whole new arena, and the other half of group gets it over the next couple of months. It just start to flow in an arena, in an area, and then they write us, 3-6 months later and go, I didn't really get a pop of life directions, but I knew something transformed there, and everything just became a little bit clearer as I went out into the world. Does that make any sense? Yes or no? Yes. All right, good stuff. So, how many of you agree that in nature, everything has its own time, yes? And so, what happens if you eat an apple before it's ripe? How does it taste? It's very sour. So the secret is to allow whatever happens to be perfect for you right now. Right when? Now. Without judgment or criticism of yourself or the program or me or anything. Just allow it to be. How many people were willing to do that? Good. Anybody not? Good. It's a process. It's a what? Process. Now, it's important to realize that your life direction is like a coat. It's like a what? Coat. Thank you. It's like a coat. And the idea is to do this. What's it say, please? Try it on. Put it out there. Think it, speak it, live it. See how it fits in the real world, both during the course and after the course. So the goal is what, in our trainings, is what we pride ourselves in, what happens the day you leave the training, and what happens in your life after the training. It's a training for something, yes? And raise your hand if you've ever made a decision and made a choice and felt really great about it, yes? And then the very next day, your mind starts going nuts and you've got this doubt and you're not sure anymore and you start to live into it and it doesn't feel right. Raise your hand if that's ever happened to you. So I'm not interested in that, see, because I lived for years like that in this arena. And I don't want that for you. So the way this course works primarily is that we're going to teach you basically how to find coats and try them on. Understand? And that way, the idea, like you'll know when something's right for you when you're already in it and living it and talking about it, thinking about it, speaking it, getting involved in it. That's the only way you can know if it's right. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of mind chatter. And you maybe feel like it could be right, but you don't know until you're in it. Raise your hand if you can agree with what I'm talking about here, right? So the goal here is to train you not only to find something here, hopefully, or confirm something or validate something you've been doing, but also to be able to find new coats as you go out into the world so you can live them, into them, speak into them, and see how they feel. What's the word? How they feel for you when you're living it, yes? Because that will tell you, not just, I think it could be this, right? All right, yes or no? Yes. All right, good stuff. So, in other words, don't get hooked into believing that you have to make a final decision here for the rest of your life. First, you don't need the pressure. It becomes an obstacle. Second, remember, you are planting your tree. It's a process. It's a what? Process. So again, how many people are willing to go with the flow and allow the process to be a work in progress? Okay, anybody not? All right.